Well, this has been another long night. Sometimes I can't sleep at night, but I'm getting very tired. So this is the last video for tonight. And the topic is, these are our stories. Okay. Okay. And the stories that I want to talk to you about are, I don't want to talk to you about them. I don't want to. I've been encouraged to talk about a lot of novels that I've read over my lifetime. And pretty much any time I was looking for something to do, if there was a book, I would grab it. If there was a newspaper, I would grab it. I loved to read. And what kind of things did I read? I used to read a lot of books that were kind of like library books, like storybooks, books about stories, pretty much. And what does that do to your mind? It puts things in your mind. Is it good or is it bad? It just is, because that's what it already did. But my friends want to talk about some other things that I don't want to talk about, because they're ideas that I've picked up from novels and movies. And some time ago, our producer Bob Frizzell said that if we go through a process of ascending to, for example, the fifth dimension from the third dimension, we're going to have to go through the fourth dimension. And Bob said, weird things happen in the fourth dimension. And so, to make a long story short, I went outside tonight and I looked up at the sky. Now, last night I went up and looked at the sky. Same sky, nice clear sky. And the stars were very bright. And I saw a bunch of what I think were satellites. And I kind of thought they might belong to Elon Musk. And I made some videos about how I didn't appreciate Elon Musk putting space junk up around planet Earth. Anyways, I went out tonight, and instead of seeing bright stars, I saw very dim stars. All of the stars are very dim tonight. I didn't see any satellites, and when I was on the internet, we're supposed to be getting a lot of, it's a meteor shower night tonight. We're in the middle of what's supposed to be scheduled for meteor showers. I didn't see any shooting stars, none. So we're looking, me and my spirit companions, we're looking up at the stars that are just so dim. It didn't look like there was cloud. It just looked like the stars were dim. And Jacob said, one of my spirit companions, he said, this reminds me of a certain character from a Stephen King horror book. Now, this character is played in the movies by Matthew McConaughey. His name is Randall Flagg, and he is a dark thing. In other words, a very unpleasant character. And Randall Flagg has a number of aliases. One is Walter Paddock. And a strange story. Um, I'll remind you of the cover of this book. These are our stories. And down here, we've got a campfire where the boys are. And we often call these kind of stories that I'm telling you, campfire stories, ghost stories, stories for girls and boys, stories for boys and girls. The topic was introduced by our spirit companion, who used to be called Rumpelstiltskin. Why he's not called that is a different story. But if we get back to ghost stories told around the campfire, there was one time when, in Stephen King's Gunslinger books, the Dark Tower books, um, the gunslinger had what was known as a parley with perhaps some bones. And this campfire kind of reminded me of that scene. But getting back to tonight, Jacob looked at the stars as we did and said, dim. The stars are very dim tonight. And then he said, Walter O'Dim, which is another alias of Randall Flagg. And then, I've made some videos tonight about how I feel like I'm under psychic attack. And we're putting two and two together, and we think that Randall Flagg, the Dark Wizard, is the one who is doing the psychic attack on me, because we are definitely, according to a lot of commentators on YouTube, in the fourth dimension. And in fact, the Arcturian Council, channeled by Daniel Scranton, who we often listen to, said we're going to be in the fourth dimension for a long time. This was not what I was told by other people. And I made a video about how Daniel Scranton coughed in two of his videos this past week, and he never coughs. So it sounds to me like something is causing Daniel Scranton to cough, and I would say that's an attack on your throat chakra. And it was, let's be funny and say it was Randall Flagg, Walter O'Dim, Walter Paddock. Oh, I was going to tell you about Walter Paddock. Well, this was one of the aliases that Stephen King gave for Randall Flagg. And strangely enough, if you remember, probably in the past couple of years, there was a shooting in Las Vegas. And the person they said that was the shooter was Walter Paddock. Same name as the alias of Randall Flagg of the Stephen King books about the Dark Tower. Randall Flagg, the character played by Matthew McConaughey. Now, on the funny side of it all is Matthew has taken on this kind of strange persona, and you've probably seen him in a lot of Lincoln car commercials. Is he playing Randall Flagg when he's doing these Lincoln car commercials? He's not excited driving his Lincoln. He's got a very odd personality. And if I was Lincoln, I would be saying to Matthew, I don't like this character you're playing for our Lincolns. I don't like this character at all. And if you don't change the damn character, we're going to pull your contract to endorse Lincolns. Because you're not giving them a fun reputation. You're giving them kind of a, I don't like the vibe. And I'm not going to buy a Lincoln. So if Lincoln sales are down, it's probably because Matthew McConaughey's playing Randall Flagg in the commercials. Or some thing that's reminiscent of. So, as far as the fifth dimension goes, are we going to have dark wizards like Randall Flagg in the fifth dimension? No. If you listen to the song The Age of Aquarius by the group The Fifth Dimension, it has nothing to do with dark wizards. So, what's really going on with the stars today? I just say it's a confirmation that if you watch scary movies and you read scary books, um, these things are now in the database of your mind, and you might experience some odd things that remind you of some of these entertainments. And some time ago, our producer Bob Frizzell said he's seen enough horror movies, scary terror movies, to say, I don't want any more of these made in my reality. Okay, I'm going to give you a different kind of book. This one is called The Search for Shambhala by James Redfield. This is one of the sequel books to James Redfield's New York Times bestseller, The Celestine Prophecy. I'll give you the blurb. Millions have experienced the insights of James Redfield's works and embraced the emerging worldview that they offer. International bestsellers that have sold over 8.5 million copies in more than 35 countries, The Celestine Prophecy and The Tenth Insight have helped people all over the world open up to a new sense of personal destiny and purpose. This book, The Secret of Shambhala, continuing the exciting adventures of the Celestine Prophecy and the Tenth Insight, this new book takes you to the snow-covered Himalayas in search of the legendary Tibetan utopia of Shambhala. As you follow a child's instructions, are pursued by hostile Chinese agents, and look for a lost friend, you will experience a new awareness of synchronicity and discover, hidden among the world's highest mountains, the secrets that affect all humanity. For Shambhala not only exists, but is destined to be found in our time, and will reveal powerful truths that can transform the world. We have two endorsements on the back cover. The first is by spiritual teacher Deepak Chopra. And Mr. Chopra, Dr. Chopra says, in his inimitable style of great storytelling, I don't know what this word is. It's inimitable. What is that word? Inimitable. I don't know this word. Inimitable. Inimitable. That's your homework. Go look at that word up. In his inimitable style of great storytelling, Redfield opens us up to a world of insight, inspiration, synchronicity, and power. Get in touch with the mysteries of the great masters. Deepak Chopra. And the second endorsement is from someone who was mm, Well, she liked, her book was called A Return to Love, and she was inspired by a book called The Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles. And her name is Marianne Williamson. And she says, the best yet from Redfield, even better than the Celestine Prophecy. These are our stories. I'm Harry Weaver, your narrator. Please subscribe and share. And don't forget, if you don't want to experience a night where the stars are dimmed, don't read The Dark Tower. Don't go and watch the Dark Tower movie. Don't watch anything other than, I mean, geez, even in this one, you've got Chinese agents who are unpleasant. So that's a spiritual book. One time I was taking a course in adult education, and our teacher was talking about how he didn't recommend sitting around the campfire staring at your navel. That's what I'm doing. And singing Kumbaya. He felt that it was ineffective as a teaching method. My teacher doesn't understand. Probably the best thing you could teach adults for their education is stare at your navel, sing Kumbaya. It helps raise your vibration. It gets you to the fifth dimension faster, so you won't have too many nights when the stars are very dim. This has been another episode of Stories for Girls and Boys, Stories for Boys and Girls, Campfire Stories, and Ghost Stories by Rumpelstiltskin.